I'm called to encourage those who know Christ and to introduce them to those who don't, because everybody fits into one of those two categories.
Lord of heaven, Lord of earth, I long to praise you. I can never pay your worth, but I long to praise.
My family's influenced me as a person probably because we're very tight-knit, and they were great supporters of what we did. Whatever we were involved in, whether it was sports or music, or I had a sister that was in dance and things like that, they were always there. And so I could always count on looking over in the stands and seeing my mom. She probably was scorekeeping up in the score booth, and I could always look over in the dugout and see my dad there. And that really carried a lot of weight with me. I mean, that gave me a confidence I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. Little League was a great experience for me. You know, when I was playing, my dad was my coach, great coach, and he coached with his best friend. They wanted us to learn the game. They wanted us to learn how to respect the game, our coaches, our opponents, and they pushed us hard, and we had a lot of fun, and we were very successful because of it.
Some days I sit and think of heaven.
My kids teach me more about life than just about anything else. And I think the greatest thing, and I know this was no accident, but I was allowed to have kids because God uses them to teach me a lot about Himself. My wife is really the one that gave me the kick that I needed to get into the music. God had been calling me and showing me different ways over the course of a year that this is what I was supposed to do, and I kept running from it because of my fear. And one day she basically cornered me and said, listen, it's obvious, this is what God's calling you to do, you need to go.
Left my home and family and took a trip across the sea, trying to find a place to hide.
I was scared to death to get into this, and the Lord has taken away all that fear. I first started playing piano when I was about 10 years old. I took lessons for about 6 months at that age, and then I quit because all I could think about was all my friends outside playing football or playing baseball for that half hour some piano lessons. I suppose I've been a singer as far back as I can remember, singing in children's choirs and things like that. And as I got older, being in adult choir and doing solos that I never wanted to do, but my mom wanted me to. And so, you know, you got to keep mom happy, so I'd get up there and do that.
Been away for too long, playing shows and singing songs.
My biggest musical influences came from early on. I was a big Larnell Harris fan, Scott Wesley Brown, Michael Card. These were people who really dug into Scripture and turned it into music. To me, that's the best kind of Christian music. When I meet people and they walk away, I want them to know they've been listened to. It's a ministry. It's what I've been called to do, and I take that very seriously. I'm not a performer. I'm not going to try to be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to jump around stage and light my hair on fire. I mean, that's just not who I am. So that's tough for me, and I've had to come out of my shell a little bit.
Green, green grass and blue, blue skies. A child's game seen by a million eyes. A boyhood dream that came to life.
To have a successful second career has been interesting. The first one being baseball. You know, a lot of people would give anything to live their dream, and baseball was my dream. What I'm doing now is exactly what I've been called to do. I know I'm in the center of God's will for my life at this point in time, and that is a dream in that sense.
I hear him say, yes, I hear him say, by the power of your name.
The part of my life that I'm most grateful for right now is life itself, because of the near-death experience I had with my heart back in 2004. That was a real nuisance. It was just happening time and time again with my neck and my chest. So I finally went to see a doctor. He checked me out, said everything looked pretty good, and thought it was just kind of an allergy thing or a bronchial infection. Gave me some medication. He said if the medication didn't work, to come back and see him in a week. Well, it wasn't working. I was actually on a trip in Florida away from home, and it was still happening. In fact, I went out to take a jog, to go on a jog one day, and within a minute the same thing hit me. It was hit my neck and then down into my chest. So since I didn't have my family doctor there, I went to the emergency room just to get checked out, and I told them my symptoms. And within minutes they had me in the back hooked up to all kinds of equipment, doing all kinds of tests. I found out I had type 2 diabetes, I had high cholesterol, relatively high blood pressure, And the cardiologist came in a few minutes later and said, I don't see anything real serious, but I'd like to go in and do a cardio catheter and just check it out and make sure everything's okay. I was a little scared. They told me I had to be awake during the procedure. And we got in there and they were telling jokes, trying to keep everything light and kind of funny, keep me from being nervous. And probably half an hour into the procedure, the surgeon turned to me and told me that I had a 99% blockage of my major artery. And they started moving as quickly as they could to place a stent in there. And I came to find out when I came out of surgery that if I had not gone in that day, I had probably a few hours to maybe a day left to live. And it woke me up. I mean, it gave me a passion for sharing the gospel that I've never had before in my life. Every place I go, I share it. If someone asks me not to do it, I just won't go, because then it becomes entertainment. It's meaningless entertainment at that point. Probably the biggest thing I want people to know about me is how serious I take my music as a ministry, not as entertainment. Hopefully, and that's part of what I do, is to entertain, but I don't have a heart for entertainment. I have a heart for sharing Christ through my music. To me, and for what I've been called to do, if I'm doing anything else, I'm just wasting time.